Right, good. I was going to say good afternoon. Welcome, one and all, to what is the how many? This SID show 5.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep, we've finally got the band back together again after a long haul. It's been quite a break. I don't know when did we last do it? It must have been about 2 months ago, something like that, I think.
It's something like that, but I mean, I might have done sort of 12 hours with you in that time, and
Aye.
you did a was it 4 hours video you two did of games you've got to play or something? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like we've been missing from each other, really. Let's be honest.
Yep, you've seen the title. You know, if you don't know what this show's about, then I suggest you go back to my playlist, SID shows, and watch it for the very beginning. Basically, what we've done is we pick. Would I be right in saying we pick 5 SID tunes that we think are quite exceptional and are worthy of your listening time, something like that?
Yeah, I'll say that's a pretty good summing up. And this time, done something a little bit different.
Yeah. Now, what? I'll let you explain, Mr. L, what we've supposedly done.
I explained your video. Okay, right.
I'll enjoy my coffee.
Well, essentially, we've chosen the top 5 based on a particular theme, but we've all chosen our own theme, and nobody knows what theme the other person has chosen, except that you two both know what mine is because I've already told you. But you know, so yeah, it's just trying to do something a little bit different to before.
Aye, because I think have we had any themes? Have we had any themes previously? I think the first 3 were just 5 tunes that we enjoyed. Did we not have a theme for number 4? I can't remember.
Yeah.
So anyway, listen, right, we'll start with you, Mr. L. I'll let you kick off with your theme and your first chosen SID tune.
Okay, me first, is it? Right. Well, I have gone back to the last one. It's covers again for me. So we've got 5 more covers here. This first one then is by Sean Connolly. So we got the Scots link there. And we're starting off about as serenely as you can possibly get, because this one is Moonlight Sonata. Well, there we go. Wasn't that a cheery way to get things underway?
Lovely. Firstly, who wrote the original?
Beethoven. Yeah, the original is well, it's Sonata number 14, but it's more well known as the Moonlight Sonata. That's only the first movement. The full length version of it is about 12 minutes. There's 3 movements to it, and it was composed in 1801. If you're a fan of Derek and Clive, you may know that one better as He's Got the Horn.
Yeah, I do. Funny you should say that.
Call me sad, but I know that better as Jet Set Willie.
Oh, well, the thing is, I mean, there's no shortage of covers of that piece on the 64. There's hundreds of them, and obviously the Jet Set Willie, theme is one of them. But that particular one, again, because it doesn't sound like piano, it does sound noticeably different to the original. But I do really like Sean Connolly's music. I'm amazed that he's never appeared in any of these videos yet. So I thought, right, it's about time he did. So I went with his version there. It is, to me, it's the best version that I heard. And I must have heard about 15 or 16 different versions while picking one out, but I was absolutely determined to get Moonlight Sonata onto this list. So, yeah, that was the best one I found.
Yeah, has he done any kind of, sorry, has he done any game music?
Oh yeah,
was he? No, I'm not familiar with the guy at all.
Turbocharge. He did the music for that.
No, really, I'm not big on my classical music. I know probably the kind of, if they brought out now, that's what I call classic music. I would probably know the tunes that are on that, but I
know every single one. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. That's a nice. I do enjoy it. I think it's a really nice tune, and it's an excellent version.
Yeah, the good thing about that is as well is, can you imagine, like if you look at the really early C64 games, they tended to use classical tracks. Could you imagine if they'd have sounded like that in 1983?
Aye.
If they had done, I don't think they would have ever moved away from classical. It would have been just classical music right the way through the 64 era, I think.
Yeah, this is true.
No, nice one. That's a nice start for SID Show 5. Good stuff, right? I'll let you take second place, Panther.
Well, this one is probably going to divide opinion because I know that even though Mr. Lukozer thinks it's well done, it's not one of his favourite tracks, but I think it's a stunner. I'm not sure what you think of it, Al, but I'm sure we'll find out.
What's your theme?
My theme is, well, it's originally going to be space games, but it's ended being space shoot 'em ups. So I don't know if that's giving away what it is, but that's what my theme is.
I've already got a pretty good idea what this one is, but
well, I am going to start with, if you share the screen, I am going to start up with the Master, Mr. Hubbard, and the Loader from Sanxion. Well, I think it's a classic anyway. You've got to picture the scene, right? Me, 14 years old. I'd only had my 64 for 6 or 7 months, and I had all the usual games, all the usual music and that. Then I went to my, I can't remember if it was Woolworths or there used to be a shop called Jennings near me. They had a model shop and a toy shop, and the model shop used to sell computer games. It was one of them, because they're all in the same parade of shops. I bought that based on the cover art. I hadn't even read a review of it. And I went up there with my mate Dean, and we bought a game each, and we always went to his house first, because his house was nearer to the shops, and he had twin tape decks, if you know what I mean. We put that into his 64, and we were just sitting there talking as a little cyber load thing was going side to side, and then that started. and we looked at each other, and as at one we went, fucking hell. And it took 3 times of loading that game up so we could listen to the music before I even saw your game sanction. And after that, it was a proper letdown.
I think that is the sole reason to actually lash out £9.99 of your good money, because the game is let's just say it's below average, not particularly worthy of your time. But that there's something about that track. It's just awesome. The whole mechanical, industrial. He's absolutely nailed it. You know, fantastic tune.
Well, I'd never heard anything like it before. It's like, what the hell is this? And it still gives me the old hair on the back of the neck going now, even after sort of like 34 years or whatever. Go on, Chris, rip it apart.
Well, I can't really rip it apart because Shock Horror, that's actually the first time I've listened to it in quite a while. And okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was. It's one of those that I always thought it was a bit over ambitious, if anything, and there are bits of it, especially at the start when the percussion track first comes in. To me, it just sounds a bit messy, and it's keeping rhythm, it's keeping time and that, but only just, and I just can't get beyond that. Once it actually gets going, it's okay, but it's that beginning bit I can't get on with. But the weird thing is, every single remix I've heard of it, I've always thought they sounded great. The only one that I'm not overly keen on is this original version.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, it's not that I think it's absolute shite, but to me it doesn't quite work. It's certainly not. It's nowhere near his worst piece,
Yeah, which is a compliment in itself, considering it's Rob Hubbard we're talking about.
Yeah,
Even if it was his worst piece, it would still be up there.
Rob Hubbard's worst piece is like best piece.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Rob Hubbard's worst would still sound a million times better than anything Jim Cuomo ever did,
Yeah, brilliant. No, I mean, I know what you're saying, Chris. If I'm being honest, the start, I like the first probably minute. That's my favourite, and then it kind of dwindles slightly, but it's still, that's the first time I've heard it all the way through for quite some time, and I still think it's a good piece. But I think he was trying a lot in that, and as you say, possibly overdid it slightly. I don't know, but I still think it's sanctioned.
It's funny you say that, mate, because the bit after the first initial piece, then you got that quiet bit where you've got the 2 whining leads playing together.
Yeah,
that's the bit of the song I really, really like. And I mean,
well, that is the bit where I think it really takes off and it really does improve over everything that's come before it.
Sounds bloody good in stereo as well.
Right, my first one. I actually had to do a wee search to see if I've actually included this one, and I haven't. I did include the follow-up to this. Now, my theme is arcade games, but I've deliberately tried to avoid any shooters, although I notice I have picked a shooter, but it's not a space one, so I think we should be good for that. I've gone for arcade games, and the first one, it's a classic game. It's a cracking version, even better sound. It is Ghosts and Goblins by Mr. Fantastic Haircut himself, Mark Cooksey.
He's going to love you for that.
Right, let's go. I don't know, that kind of stopped off you suddenly, didn't it?
Yeah, because he didn't have the loop selected.
Ah, right, okay. Alright, so it sounded alright if I went and did that. But yeah, you know what, I mean, it's not I think the tracks that I've picked, because I've kind of picked it based on arcade games, it's got to be a good tune, but it's got to suit the game, and I think that one absolutely ticks all the boxes. He's got all the little, if you imagine Ghosts and Goblins, the sound effects, I don't know how you describe it. I mean, it's very, very similar to the original. It's got all the wee whoops and just background noises. It fits the game absolutely perfectly. And I think if you were to take that soundtrack away from the C64 version, it's a bit like Commando. Remove the music, you wouldn't want to play the game. That really, really adds to the ambience of the game, and it certainly made me want to play the game back in the day.
Yeah, I can only agree. I remember I played the 64 version before I played the arcade version, and I remember going away on a family holiday, probably at Clacton, and going on the pier there and finding a Ghosts and Goblins machine. It's like, oh, I know how to play this game. Play it on the 64. Chucking me 20p in, and it's like, where's the bloody music? Yeah, I think if you've played the 64 version first, the arcade music's a letdown, and the arcade original's got really good music as well, but it's not as good as what Mark Cooksey did, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mr. L's been a bit quiet.
Yeah, from what you were saying, does Mark Cooksey watch these?
He might do if I send him the link. I'm friends with him.
Okay, Mark, if you're watching, you want to skip this bit now. I don't know what it is about his music. I'm not a fan. This isn't bad, although I think the percussion track is abysmal. But the actual tune is pretty good. I don't know what it is about him. I mean, I've only heard 3 pieces that he's done. This is okay. He did 1942, which I think is utterly forgettable, and Bomb Jack, which was an utterly pants version of a piece of music that had no business being in the game to begin with. So yeah, I mean, this is a marked improvement over those two, but I think it's a bit forgettable, really. It's not terrible, but I don't think it's particularly memorable.
Well, suffice to say, Bomb Jack was in my top 7, and I had to choose, and I knocked that one out. And if I remember rightly, I also chose 1942. Yeah, you know, we've all got our own taste. I just think, yeah, he's definitely got his own. He's got a very plinky plonky sound to it. But I think for the games that he writes music for, I think he absolutely nails it. But you know,
this one certainly suits the game it's in, no doubt about that. It really does suit the Ghosts and Goblins game. I think the 64 version of the game is far better than the coin-op one. I hate the coin-op version, but I don't mind playing the 64 one.
Just for future reference, on if you've got it, SID Effects 5, the SIDS of War one, there's a song on there, Mark Cooksey's music to the Elite game Battleships. That's one of his I really like. That might be worth listening if you want to expand your horizon to 4
I'm pretty sure I have got SID Effects 5, so I'll have to refresh my memory on that one. I don't remember it. So
I know I've not picked it, but you mentioned about Bomb Jacks is utterly forgettable. I think it's like the perfect arcade game music. I mean, presumably you hate my arcade perfect my arses. Well, that's why I chose it. I just think it's...
No, that's the time. No, what I was referring to was the in-game music. That shit version of Magnetic Fields 2. You know, I mean, it's got the start of it right, and then it just goes completely, you know, the end bit of it. What the fuck was that? Don't sound nothing like it, you know. And then, like I say, it's got no business being in the game anyway.
Cool, some people have never heard of artistic license.
Yeah, and that bombshell back to Mr. L, eh?
Okay, right. I guess after that, my next one had better be good, hadn't it?
Oh, yes.
Right, well, we've already had one by this bloke, and shock horror, this isn't another Mark Cooksey one. So, this is Rob Hubbard again, and this is, well, before I go into any real detail, which I say, it's Zoids. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, impressive, impressive.
I've been racking my brains. I haven't got a clue what you've put in that as denoting a cover.
Well, the original, it's another one which is a bit like all the Rob Hubbard covers that I chose before, where it's more a sort of homage to the original. It does sound very, very similar to the original. The original version was by Larry Fast. It's one of the Synergy albums. The original track is called Ancestors. It's from an album called Audion, which came out in 1981. So I'm assuming you're not familiar with the original one.
He wasn't even born when that came out.
81.
Sorry, Grandad.
Was that a 78 or was it a 33?
Well, if you're not familiar with the original, are either of you familiar with the original?
No.
I'm not, to be honest.
Okay.
I said that because I was going to say the same thing.
I'm not aware of the track name. I'm aware of Larry Fast and the album name, but it's not an album I've listened to.
Okay. Well, I gotta say, right, the original one is like seriously fucking shit. It is awful.
Well, you've said that. Well done.
It's. I think the original is one of the worst pieces of electronic music I have ever heard, and I'm not exaggerating one bit there. I really can't stand it, but he has completely transformed it with this version here. It is infinitely better than the original one, and it is a fucking good piece of music. Unfortunately, it got added to a fucking awful game, but still, at least the music was good. So even though I did buy it back in the day, it wasn't, 10 quid completely wasted, because yeah, I got that.
Well, I mean, the percussion was a bit out at the beginning, but once it got going, I began to enjoy it.
No, I must admit, for a 5-minute track, quite a long track, I tend to find with some of these SID shows we do, some of the tracks, they pique your interest at bits and then it gets a bit bleh. But that one, I thought I really enjoyed it all the way through, and I'd love to hear that. I mean, especially about 2 minutes in, there's kind of some whiny kind of, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's very Rob Hubbard.
Yeah, that main sort of like rhythm at from 159 onwards, I just think, for me, that is the pinnacle of Rob Hubbard's musical career. I just think it sounds so good.
I think, did you not use that kind of, that voice, whatever you want to call it, in the, was it Crazy Comets? I think it was at the start. It's kind of whiny. I'm sure it was.
It's not quite the same. I think there's slight variation. I can see what you mean, but I don't think it was quite, wasn't laid on quite as heavily as it is here in this one.
I'm looking forward to actually listening to this video when it comes out. Once Chris has done his magic with the stereo, and I'll listen to it in my surround sound downstairs, which is definitely going to.
You're talking about listening to music. I mean, I don't know if either of you have got it or bought it or backed it or whatever. There's a rather impressive version of Zoids on the 8-bit Symphony Pro, the one that's been already recorded.
Well, that is a piece of music that really is crying out for, being given the symphony treatment, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, there is a chance I could play you a piece later on, but obviously it's copyright, so I'm not going to do it on here.
Okay, all right.
Good stuff. No, smashing. Good second one. Back to you, Mr. P, I think.
Right, well, I'm all ready to go. This space shoot 'em up is my arcade one. And I'm going to go for Martin Galway from 1986 doing Terra Cresta.
Oh, nice.
you go. More filters than the Benson and Hedges factory.
That is pretty much archetypal Martin Galway, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Actually, the two I've played so far, this and Sanction, I'm surprised they haven't popped up already, to be honest with you. When I was going through thinking, well, I want to do some spacey games, because A, I've already recorded a load of them, and B, I really like them. And I thought, I can't believe that I've not chosen these myself before.
It is certainly a surprise that Sanction hasn't appeared until now, you know, so this one always, to me, sounds like it's a very long intro. I don't know if that's again like the prog rock side of me, you know, half expecting songs to go on for at least 15 minutes. But to me, that just sounds like, you know, a 4-minute intro, and then I'm waiting for the rest of it to go on after that. But then, of course, it starts looping, you know.
Yeah, as you say, classic Martin Galway. It kind of borrows quite a bit from like Wizzball, though I think this preceded, or this came before Wizzball, didn't it? I think. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, year before, I believe.
I'm sure it did. Yeah, I'm a massive fan of Martin Galway, and there's very, very little Galway stuff that I don't like. Even the Loader to Green Beret, which I haven't picked before you asked, although it was on my radar.
I'm not sorry to hear that.
I knew there was something I should have chose. Well, actually, on one of mine, I did a medley of Green Beret. I did the Loader mixed in with the title tune, and I think they go well together like that.
Mm-hmm.
What, Green Beret?
Clearly.
Okay, yeah, I'll take your word for it on that one.
No, brilliant, good stuff. Right, my number 2. Again, it's an arcade racer, and it's based on. It's a sequel to a mightily popular game called Outrun, and it's called Turbo Outrun, and this is by Jerome Tail. Hopefully, I've got this right, and I've even ticked the loot box. So here we go.
1, 2, 3. Hit it. Outrun. Outrun. Yeah. Outrun. Where?
Well, that could almost be an Amiga track.
I can't. If some, I mean, it's hard to actually believe. I was actually going to look to see if I maybe clicked on something by mistake, or is all that and all these sounds that we've just listened to, is that all contained in like a 20k SID tune?
Well, I'll have a look and tell you.
Because it's just absolutely incredible. I mean, yeah, I know there's a lot of like what do you call it? There's a lot of sampling going on and that kind of stuff, but I think if you were trying to sell how good a SID track, how good the C64 is, how capable it is as a music machine, you play that. I mean, you were mentioning about having, some of the real early C64 music was absolutely fucking awful. It was terrible. It was just like plinky plonky classical tracks. To imagine that, what we've just listened to coming out of this beige box, is just absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, that's a technical masterpiece. Might not be the best bit of music, but the amount of stuff that he's flung in there is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that one is actually 56k. Because, I mean...
56, that's almost the entire memory that's available when coding, I think.
Well, you think how long that tune was and that, and how many samples. I mean, all them voices that you heard in that was all Joran. There's a story that he had to say 1, 2, 3, because saying 3, it didn't sound right, so he says 1, 2, 3. That's actually, I mean, he don't sound much different now when you speak to him. He doesn't say 3 as much, obviously. But yeah, a lot of people might not have heard that track all the way through, because that just plays, once the game's loaded, then you press fire, then it loads more of the games, especially on the disc version. So yeah, that uses a lot of K, because he's even, I think the kitchen sink probably is in that mix somewhere.
How could he? I didn't think that the 64 had 54k of memory. By time
if you're programming machine code through assembly, I think it's got 59. I think it's somewhere around that sort of space. If you're doing basic programming, that's when it really plummets. Then you've only got 39.
So presumably that tune was playing when the game was loading. Was that how it worked?
No, once the game loaded, you got a title screen come up, and and that music.
Yeah. And then once you press fire, basically it dumped it all because there was no memory left for anything else.
Yeah. What do you think yourself, Mr. L? You've not said much about it.
No, I haven't. Right, can I start by making 2 points? In the very first SID video, I said that your own tell simply does not do bad music. You know, everything he does, you know, I think he always does it really well. Point 1. Point 2, I don't know if you both saw the last video I uploaded when I did the L-Man, yeah, the, what was it, Hi-Fi Sky piece.
Well, I certainly did. If you remember, I might have pointed it out.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, because you were the one who let him know that I'd put it up there. And in that, I said that I'm not a big fan of Commodore 64 music that uses a lot of samples, because I want to hear the SID doing most of it. I don't want to hear, you know, samples sort of doing it all. So you put those two things together. I've got to say, I know this is going to be a really unpopular opinion. I think that is the weakest piece that Your Own Tell did, because it is so reliant on samples. You know, I think it uses too many of them. That was the first time I've ever heard it all the way through, because back in the day, and even now, when it starts, I can only get about a minute or so into it, and I've heard enough samples, all that 1, 2, 3, hit it, and oh yeah, oh that, I hated that in the 80s, and I hate it now, you know. And not just in the, I hate it in any music that uses that fucking hateful sample, you know.
You would have hated Xenon 2 on the Amiga then, eh?
Well, no, because Xenon 2 on the Amiga didn't have any of those. It was all, it was just the instrumental piece. I think they got rid of all those Oh Yeah or something, didn't they? I'm pretty sure they
Bomb
did.
the Bass had that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like Bomb the Bass tracks and that back in the day, I couldn't stand them, you know. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's a decent piece of music, yes. I mean, like I say, Your Own Tell doesn't write, you know, bad music, even if it is mostly a cover of I forget which one of the Outrun. Oh, it is Magical Sound Shower. Okay, but yeah, I think it's his weakest one. I would rather hear him, you know, using the SID more than using so many samples. So that's the only reason why I'm not as keen on it as you two are.
I do agree with you. Again, I just think it's you know, you used to have the Amiga had the Bong demo, or was it the juggling robot to sell the system. If you had that tune running in a computer shop and you're looking at the Spectrum playing,
yeah, which a lot of them didn't they, when that game came out? Yeah.
Fucking hell, what's that? Is that a special synthesizer? No, that's the computer that's making all that noise. Like, why do I need an Amiga when I've got this, when it can do just...
Yeah, that's right. Cause, I mean, when did that game come out? Was it 88? Was it that came out?
89 is when
89. So at that time, the Amiga was sort of becoming a bit more mainstream. And computer shops all over, certainly around Southend, you'd walk into them and you'd hear that. And loads of people, and I was one of them, just assumed, oh, that's an Amiga that's playing here. It's fucking 64. Yeah. So, you know, and I'm sure that's exactly why the computer shops had that playing, you know. They're basically saying, look, the Commodore 64 has not had its day yet. It's still well and truly, you know, on top.
What's interesting, I've still got the thing up. Jerome, it says here in the comments
that he thinks it's one of his best ones.
He thinks it's one of his best audio tracks he's ever done in the C64. Yeah, maybe, as a tune, maybe not the best, but as a technical accomplishment. You know,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, as a technical exercise, you can't criticise it, not at all. I'm just not a huge fan of the end result, and like I say, purely because of the reliance on samples.
Yeah, I just think it suits the game perfectly. It's turbo outrun. It's a fast arcade game, and all these, and that goes in with the general kind of feeling of the game. But yeah.
Well, we'll see if you feel differently after you've heard my version of it.
You never know. I mean, it may well improve things. So.
Well, when I was talking to Jaron about doing this this SID Effect 6, the one that he's still mixing. I mean, it's a good. There's about 4 hours of music to mix up.
Yes. Yeah.
When because I'd sent him a couple of tracks before, and he was like, "Oh, it's cool to hear it this way." When I was talking to him about choosing the tracks and letting me record them and actually doing it together, I sent him a recording of Turbo Outrun, and that was the recording that blew him away. And he was like, "Yeah, let's definitely do this." I mean, he was up for it, but he was like double up for it once I played in that. So, are you having trouble hearing me?
No.
Like the fucking noise in the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So that's I think that's 2 each. Back to you, Mr. L.
Right. Okay. Did I? Yes. Right. I've got this all set up. All right. Bit of a story behind why I've chosen this one. Obviously, another cover. This is a Jean-Michel Jarre cover, and in the comments of SID 4. Someone, I can't remember who it was, they mentioned Rein Auerhand, and they said that he had done a really good cover of a particular one. And I replied in the comments that he had also done a really good cover of possibly the most unlikely Jarre track you could ever choose to do a cover of. And this is it. So the file is called Concerts in China 2. That's where it comes from. It's a very, very short piece. It's only 46 seconds long, so I might let it loop twice. But yeah, see what you think. There you go, told you it was short, that was it twice. But that is a short extract of the original piece is called Fishing Junks at Sunset, and it was one of the original pieces of music that he performed in the concerts in China. And well, the original version goes on for nearly 10 minutes, and it's probably, of all the pieces that he performed at the two concerts, it's the one that sounds the most like sort of traditional Chinese music. But I just thought, of all the Jarre tracks that I, thought I might find covers of on the 64, that was the last one I expected to ever hear. And the fact that it was done by, someone as talented as Rein Auerhand as well, I just thought I've got to include it.
Yeah, it's got a really meaty bass sound to it as well. I really like the way Ren composes SIDs anyway. It's always got a real depth to them.
Yeah. When you consider that is really just a very simple loop. I mean, it is just, a tiny 30-second extract from a 10-minute piece. But he has chosen like the archetypal section of the song. Anyone who knows the original, as soon as they hear that main melody start, straight away, oh yeah, right, yeah, that's Fishing Junks at Sunset from Concerts in China.
Funny enough, I didn't actually know the track until you told me the name of it, and I instantly goes, oh fuck, I remember that track now, actually. I do remember
Yeah, I think on a couple of his compilation albums, it cropped up on there. For some reason, it always seemed to be like, you know, a popular addition to. I know it was on the Essential. I think it might have been on Images as well. So it does crop up on some of his compilations.
Just out of curiosity, has that guy done any other Yard tracks?
Yes, I'm pretty sure he has. Like everybody else, I'm pretty sure he did an Oxygen 4 cover, and he even called it Oxygen 4 as well, which was doubly impressive. Yeah, I just remember when I was going through the list, I suddenly saw Rent Our Hand Concerts in China. I thought, okay. I was actually looking for a cover of Night in Shanghai, which is my favourite track from the Concerts in China album. Can't find that anywhere. But I just thought, just on the off chance, I'll see if it is that. Of course, press play, I start hearing Fishing Junks at Sunset. Like, what? He covered this? You know, so I was like, just really impressed.
Just for reference, Hal, if you want to hear a really good, if you've got an hour to spare, Ren Hourhand did the soundtrack to Last Ninja 3, and it's as good as Ben and Anthony Lee's first one. It's as good as Matt Gray's second one. He also done Last Ninja Remix as well on the 64. That's like two that he's famous for. He's done loads. But,
also, I mentioned about Sean Connolly earlier. He did the soundtrack to the game Turbocharge. Ren Hourhand also did a soundtrack to it, which never got used, and that's well worth a listen. That is quite impressive.
Good stuff. Have you given that track your twin SID chip treatment at all, Panther? No.
Which one? What
the one you're just mentioning about the 40-minute or the hour-long Last Ninja 3?
No, I haven't. I'm very careful with Last Ninja stuff because System 3 is still very protective. It's like I've got, even though I've got a copyright warning, or it's not really a strike, but I've got a copyright claim. That's the word I'm looking for the Last Ninja Ben Daglish video I put out last month. I kind of spoke to people that I know deal with that, and I don't mind, like, if any of my videos have adverts on them, it's because of the music, and that just means people like Martin Galway and Ben Daglish's widow get money from it, and I don't care that people put adverts on it. I'm not monetising my channel, but if these people get money out of it, that's great.
Yeah.
But I tread very carefully with the Last Ninja. Like if I really wanted to do a massive thing to do with Last Ninja 2, I would message Matt Gray directly and say, look Matt, I want to do this, do you mind? And then that way I know if I get a claim on it, it's not something that's going to come back and bite me. But I've never really spoken to Ren. I think I might be friends with him, or at least follow him on Facebook, but I've never really spoke to him. So no, I haven't yet for those reasons. But I would like to. It's a really good soundtrack, really stunning. And like I don't know if you've ever played the game. It's one of the early 64 games. It's got like a cinematic intro to it, and it's just really well done.
Never played the third one. Just on that you're mentioning Facebook. You know how on Facebook you do get people you may know. Richard Bayless popped up on my stream last night. Can't think why. I've not played any of his tunes yet, so I don't know where that came from. Go figure.
Moving on.
Right, back to you, Mr. Panther.
Right, well, it wouldn't be me if I didn't shoot forward about 30 years, and I'm going to do one from 2017. Now, this song is by a guy called William Fay, who also goes by the name Highway Guy. But when he did the soundtrack to this game, he called himself Pulsebot, because I'm going to do the title theme to Galencia.
Oh, nice.
There you go. That is a great game with great sound. I mean, you can still buy that game now. It's probably only about less than a fiver on itch.io. I recommend everyone do it. I mean, I've got it. I got the version that come on the C64 Mini that they gave away for free one Christmas in a firmware update, which is what a great present. I mean, I'm assuming you've both played Galencia.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's a great game with great sound.
I was lucky enough to. Jason actually gave me a kind of preview version.
Yeah, I got I did a review of it on my channel, and he sent me a preview version. It's not the full one. If you were to buy the game, and I really must do that and get the full version of it, because the preview version is lacking only a very slight number of features, but it's not complete anyway. It's not bang up to date. It's a fantastic game. I think the music there fits it fucking really well. Throughout while that was playing there, the main melody, I kept thinking, I definitely know that from somewhere. It has just occurred to me where I know it from. Fred Gray. It's very, very similar to the bass line of the soundtrack he did for Red Heat, which, okay, was a terrible game. The music was okay. It wasn't Fred Gray's best. So whether or not it was actually, intentional, being influenced by Fred Gray, I can think of far worse, musicians to influence your music.
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Just what Lukozer's saying, it's a blinding game, and that track just fits it to an absolute T. Fantastic track.
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah, good stuff. Right, back to myself. Number 3. Now, I'm surprised. This is one we have mentioned on countless occasions, and I don't think we've ever actually picked it. I did check. I don't think it's picked. And it's by Mr. Galway again, and this is Arkanoid. There we are.
That's a classic. It is a class. One of the first songs to use samples, I believe.
I think it was the first.
Quite possibly.
But so what I was saying earlier about the your own tell one, and I'm not keen on pieces that use too many samples. There's always an exception to the rule, and that's the exception. Do you remember back in the third video we did, and I chose Street Hawk for the Galway piece, and I was saying I couldn't decide between two Galway pieces, and I went with Street Hawk. That was the other one. I think that is a very close second to Miami Vice as being the best piece of music that Galway did. And even the version on the Spectrum that appears in the Spectrum version of Cobra, even that version I think sounds pretty good. So it's a great piece of music done really, really well.
Yeah. I bought the game, and you always know, you can always tell when it's a good bit of music when you loaded the game and you didn't want to fucking start the game, because the minute you started the game, the music cut out. You just wanted to listen to it.
Yeah, there's another one of those "what the hell am I listening to" moments.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a different time, but I think it was my mate that bought that. And again, you know, we didn't play the game for a while. We just left the music going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those. Yeah.
Awesome piece. Right,
Have we got time? Bring up your screen again. Have you got time to play it again, but slightly differently?
Yep.
Go to the one below it, the Arkanoid Alternative Drums version, and play that one.
This one here.
Because this was one that I was going to choose for one of mine later on.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's just me. To me, it sounds like that's using the drum samples from Game Over.
It could be. It also sounds a lot like the drum samples from, do you remember Microsoft's drum machine, Micro Rhythm?
Vaguely, yes.
Aye.
It was a £1.99 drum machine for your Commodore 64, and it was bloody good, and it had them sort of drum samples in. Yeah, I think you're right. That sounds like the Game Over drums, which is also another bloody good piece of music.
Is that your favourite version then, Mr. L? Do you prefer that over the original?
I don't know if I'd go so far as to say I prefer that to the original, but I do think it sounds great. That really sort of like crisp snare drum sound does sound good. But I think I still prefer the original
Aye.
for that particular piece.
I'm the same. I'm the same. So yeah, that's my number 3, an absolute Stonewall classic. That was Arkanoid by Martin Galway, and it's choice number 4. Back to yourself, Mr. Lukozer.
Right. Okay. So this one, it's another Maniac of Noise. So this is a cover of my all-time favourite Vangelis track. But you may not necessarily think that if you just saw the title. So this is Charles Dinan, and well, the track, well, the SID file anyway, is called China. There you go. Short but sweet extract. It does actually say that that SID is unfinished, but the fact that it was started in 2012 and here we are 8 years later, I don't think it's ever going to get beyond this point.
What was that? Was that Vangelis? You said?
Yeah, that's a Vangelis one. So the actual track is called Chung Kuo, and it's from the album China, which is why it's got the SID name there. The album came out in '79, and if you hear the original, you recognise it straight away. It's one of those pieces you've heard all over the fucking place. A lot of the time, it's used in like planetariums and things like that. Yeah, it's my favourite Vangelis piece. The original version has a really weird intro. It sounds nothing like how the rest of the piece actually goes. And if you're unfamiliar with how it starts, you would hear that and you'd be convinced, oh, hang on, this is a totally different song. It's a bit like listening to The Chain by Fleetwood Mac if all you've heard is the old Grand Prix theme, that sort of business. But yeah, I mean, that was another one. I was desperately trying to find a cover of that, and wasn't having any luck. So I'd given up, and then by sheer chance, when I was looking for that Night in Shanghai from Concerts in China, I was just searching China, and I saw this one by Charles Dinan. I thought, okay, well, he's a fucking decent SID composer, I'll give this a listen. Of course, it turns out to be the Vangelis track. Oh, right, I'm definitely including this one.
So how do you think that stacks up to the Vangelis original then?
It's a pretty fucking good, you know, pretty close. I mean, obviously, the original one doesn't have the drum track there, but I don't think it suffers as a result of that. I think it's a pretty good, you know, a pretty good stab at it.
I mean, I've definitely heard the Vangelis one before. I don't believe I've got it unless it's on his. I don't know. The only Vangelis album I've got is it Scenes or something, which has got loads of movie soundtrack type stuff on it.
Okay, I don't know if it's going to be on there because yeah, this wasn't a film soundtrack or anything like that.
Yeah, but I definitely recognise the tune, and it's a good track, as you say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice, very, very listenable. Easy on the ear for sure. Yeah, good stuff.
that does sound a bit diplomatic.
Unlike fucking Parallax Gate from the live 12-hour live stream, but I thought I was going to manage to get through this video without mentioning it, but anyway, there we go. On that note, over to yourself, Panther.
This is why I haven't got the scope switched on. Right. Right, I think it was SID Show 3. I played the sequel to this. So, sticking with the Maniacs of Noise and my mate Jarantel, I'm going to play the theme from the first Cybernoid game, which obviously simply called Cybernoid. Or at least I will do when I choose the right mouse. There we go. Hopefully that will redress the balance from your unfavourable response to Turbo Outrun, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a great one, isn't it? I think the piece he did for Cybernoid 2, I do prefer to that one, but that is by no means saying that I don't think that is a good piece. As Cybernoid is another of those games which once again proves how whenever a game was released for the 64 and the Amiga, I always bought the wrong one. Although thankfully this time, because I had the Amiga version, but thankfully this time I had it on a pirate copy. It was a straight Atari ST port. It was shit in every department. There was no music at all for starters. So the 64 version, having that piece, infinitely better than the Amiga version. Yeah, it's great piece of music though. Can't argue with that.
I'm pretty sure that's, I don't know if it's the first, but that's one of his first commercial piece of music that he did for a game. I mean, 1988, he would have been between 15 and 16 doing that.
Yeah, it's got to be one of his earliest ones, isn't it? Yeah.
He was 15 or 16 years old.
Yeah, he's the same age.
Bloody hell.
He's the same. He was born the same year as me and Chris Allen, 1972.
Yeah.
Christ almighty.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I was
out working. I'd been working for 10 years at that point. Aye. What the hell?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's just, as Lukozer said there, it's an absolute epic piece of music, the full thing, and it makes a good game even better. You know, fantastic.
You remember when we were doing the Impossible Games video? I originally was going to pick Cybernoid on the Spectrum. Don't get me wrong, the version of Cybernoid on the Spectrum is a good game. It's very well done, but the music is a pile of wank compared to that, and it's a good piece of AY music, but compared to that, it's just negligible.
How many years difference was Cybernoid 2 from the original?
Not many.
I think they both come out in '88.
Yeah.
Did they really?
Did, yeah.
I think did it not come out late? I think Cybernoid came out. I think the Spectrum was the original, wasn't it? And then I think it came out in the C64 maybe a year later or something.
Yeah, and they improved.
Yeah. Aye, no, cracking track. Right, my fourth piece is a shoot 'em up based on an arcade game, and it's I don't think, you might be able to tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've picked anything from this guy. It's Silkworm, and it's by Barry Leach. Have we picked anything from Barry Leach yet?
Well, I don't believe we have.
No, I'm not sure we
I
have.
believe you have. Here we go. Yeah, short but very, very sweet, and you need to try and remember the game it was in. I mean, Silkworm's a very, very fast-paced shoot 'em up, and I think it just fits the theme of the game perfectly.
Barry epitomises what I would call the thumping soundtrack. I mean, he does. He's always got good thumping drum beats and that. Have you either of you seen the game Horizon Chase Turbo? It's modern.
Yeah, yeah, I've got
5
the,
years. It's like the spiritual successor to like Lotus Turbo Challenge.
yeah.
Well, Barry Leach done the soundtrack to that, and it's
Oh, did he?
it's very, very good music. It's more modern music, but you can hear there's an 8-bit influence to it, and it's very, very Leach.
Mr. L, have you heard of that one before? Is that the first thing you've heard?
Yeah, yeah, I know that one. It's a good job actually, because I don't know why, but I couldn't hear it very well while it was playing. But obviously, once we done the re-recording and that, it will come across a lot better. But yeah, I know that one pretty well. I'm not a big fan of the Silkworm game, but yeah, the music I think was great. I mean, yeah, very short, and I remember. It was a mate of mine who had it. I didn't have it back then. But yeah, a mate of mine had it, but for some reason his version, the music kept fucking up in it. So I never actually got to hear it all the way through.
No.
I mean, it's actually perhaps a good thing that it is fairly short, so I didn't miss a hell of a lot. But yeah.
Interesting you should say that. It says here in the comments that almost all copies of the game had a bug in the tape loader routine, which would mean the music corrupts itself around the 120 mark.
No.
This version that we heard is bug free. There you go.
So there you go. So that would have been what it was then. Yeah. So, but yeah, yeah, I totally agree with what Panther said there. It's the drum track, the rhythm track that you know really does stand out. And I haven't heard a huge amount of stuff by Barry Leach, but what I have heard, yeah, it does seem to be very much percussion driven, and that can only be a good thing in my books.
Yeah, it's a thumping soundtrack, and it just, it's a fast paced. You can have simultaneous 2-player action on it. The music fits the game perfectly.
Yeah, it sounds like a game I'll have to give another try.
Yeah, definitely. And again, the C64 one is the better of the two. Well, compared to the Amiga, I would always pick the C64 one. Partly down to the music as well, so there you go.
Oh, I can well believe that. Yeah, yeah.
I think we've just come up with an idea for a video. I think.
Well, going through the shit versions of games that I kept buying. Yeah.
8 bits that shit all over the 16-bit versions.
You're looking at the person who bought Hawkeye for the Amiga.
Well done.
Yeah. What a
Gold
fuck
star.
it. And I actually paid for that. I paid 25 quid, and I got that shit. Anyway, that's
right. Back to
that's
yourself,
more
Mr. L, for your final SID track of this video.
Right, my final cover. So for this one, we're going back to the beginning again, because it's back to Sean Connolly. And it's another Jean-Michel Jarre cover, because it's me. It wouldn't be right if I didn't have at least 2 Jarre tracks. So this one is Calypso, specifically Calypso Part 1. There we go.
Superb. I love the original, and that's a fantastic version. It's just
Yeah.
it just makes you smile. It's a happy. You can imagine yourself on a beach in Hawaii or wherever it is in the Caribbean playing the steel drums. It's just a fantastic
Yeah, well,
version.
of course, the original version is played on the steel drums. So yeah, it does sound great. So the original one was from the Waiting for Cousteau album, and that album came out in 1990, the same year that this SID came along. So he didn't waste any time getting the cover done for this one. That is one album where, if you like your long songs, the title track for Waiting for Cousteau is 47 minutes long.
Wow.
That's pretty good going. Shah goes prog. I have actually listened to that album on your recommendation, and it is a stunningly good album.
Yeah, it is, yeah. There isn't a weak point in it. I mean, the title track is pure sort of like ambient sort of soundscape rather than an out and out like piece of music, but it works so well, especially as it was the soundtrack for a Jacques Cousteau documentary. It fits it absolutely, stunningly. But the three sort of like actual like pieces of music beforehand, they're all very, very different to each other, but I think they are all absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Sean Connery does some really good bass lines as
well. That one, I think, sounds very sort of like archetypal Sean Connery, far more certainly than the first one I played tonight.
Yeah.
Just an interesting, I'm just thinking to myself about, you're saying that one came out in 1990. Now, that was before the internet, so see, was that ever released, like, on a game at all? No.
No, not as far as I know.
So see when like, something like Sean Connery would write a tune like that, how would it get shared? Would he write it and then just effectively...
Demo discs, CBSs.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really aware of demo discs on the C64 as really being something.
Well, there were plenty of them, but I don't think it was until the Amiga came along that it really sort of took off. I had hundreds of Amiga, public domain music and demo discs and that. I didn't have any for me 64, but then on my 64 I didn't have a disc drive, and I don't think you were going to get many sort of like public domain releases on cassette back then, especially as in 1990 the Amiga was obviously sort of well into its sort of heyday then. So I would imagine anything like that was released for 64 would have been disc only, so that was me out.
Yeah, it would have been basically a C64 with a modem and a 1541, and you just basically downloaded it and wrote it, at sort of like, I don't know, 800 baud or something. But get it straight to disc. But there was a fairly active demo scene even in the 80s, and they had like copying parties and stuff like that.
Oh, brilliant!
Right. Talking of long songs, now this is a long SID. Alright, I shall warn you in advance. It's Thomas Deter, it's not Gordian Tomb, don't worry, I've not gone silly. Right, there was a game that was never released called Hydrogenese, and it would have been another kind of example architectures, really nice graphical shoot 'em up. And parts of it ended up in loads of different games, and for some reason the music to Hydrogenese ended up in the game Parsec. So if you play the SID from Parsec, like in the SID music, one of the later subtunes is actually the title music to Hydrogenese. Since then, there is now a demo with the Hydrogenese music in it, and you can play it straight from a disc. And it's literally Tom Goes Prog, and it's well worth the listen, so that's why I'm playing it. 280, 3 voices. There's another song in that sub-tune, 8K. What do you make of that? I mean, I absolutely love that track.
That's insane.
I'll let Al go first with what he thinks for that one.
Yeah, I think if Thomas Duterte had a restaurant, it would be a all-you-can-eat buffet. I mean, there's a bit of something for everybody in that. You know, it's there's a lot of it doesn't flow, and I don't mean that in a bad way. There's lots of different little sub-tunes. I love the effect. I think it was about 9 minutes in. It could have it's like you could hear the heartbeat, and you could actually have that as a first-person alien game. Just absolutely spot on, fantastic, really kind of edgy stuff. But yeah, I mean some of the sort of the actual voices that he uses, he's got some of the sort of percussion is just absolutely astonishing. You wouldn't think, especially at the very start, there's a really sort of low. I don't know what that is, a bass drum or something. Really impressive, and again, it's on a 64, and the fact that it's fucking 8K is just absolutely incredible. Mental. No, really. Thanks, Chris, for coming out with these ones, because you're coming out with stuff that I would never know to listen to, and it's
welcome,
great,
mate.
getting your ears open to, it's an opportunity for myself, Chris, and all the listeners to kind of listen to stuff like that a lot of people would probably would never be aware of. But absolutely top track, good stuff.
Yeah, what a song! What a fucking masterpiece! That really did have me thinking prog rock, not just duration. The way the piece was put together. Yeah. I didn't think that the 64, and the SID chip would really be like a viable sort of instrument for producing like something that could have a sort of prog rock sound to it. Fuck it. Who needs Mike Oldfield? That was. In this video, we've had the Arkanoid theme, which I think is one of the best pieces of Commodore 64 music ever made. And that was by far the best piece we've had tonight, by a distance. Unreal.
Well, I mean, I was humming and ahhing about putting that one in because it's 13 minutes. And I thought, they're going to moan at me because I mean, the one before it's like fucking nearly 7 minutes. And I thought, I'm taking up 20 minutes just with 2 tunes. I thought, I was pretty much nuts on certain that you, Chris, would definitely like that. And I thought Alan probably would, but he might not like the slower bits so much, but I knew you'd like it.
No,
so
I enjoyed it.
I thought, fuck it, I'll go with it.
Well, the way it all sort of like, it had the slow bits and the fast bits, and it was reminding me of 2112. And let's face it, when a song reminds you of 2112, it cannot fail. I got to just say about that. I only recently heard 2112, the Rush track, because Chris sent me the link to it because he knew I liked prog rock. He sent me the link. He said, "You got to hear it." I heard it once, and straight away it became like the greatest prog rock song I have ever heard. Anybody out there, if you want to know how prog rock should sound, go and listen to that. Once you've listened to this.
You're welcome, mate.
What's it called? So it's by Rush. What was it called? 2112.
2112. 2112.
Yeah.
2112.
It's 20 minutes long. Yeah, but you listen to it, and it just goes. It sounds like you've only been listening to it for not even 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and the whole thing has just gone. It's just. Amazing.
I noticed, I thought you'd maybe fallen asleep, but then I realised what you were doing is you were actually, rather than getting distracted with text, and I was kind of tempted just to shut my eyes and just take it in, but I didn't want to do that. But yeah, I think that's, to really enjoy a piece like that, I think playing that over a stereo in a darkened room and just close your eyes and just fucking listen to it, take the full, absorb it.
I find with pieces like that, and also with like Early Jar, a lot of Tangerine Dream, that's the best way to listen to it. Just block everything else out and just have that playing.
Aye. The only sense that you're picking up is the sound rather than any visual stuff. Yeah, no, absolutely. No.
Well, if you can't wait for the edit and you want to hear that in glorious surround sound stereo, that is the last track on disc 2 of SID Effects 3.
Okay, right, I know what I'm going to be doing after this bit.
Brilliant, right, last one for me before we wrap this video up. Back to Mr. Jerome Tell again. He's been getting quite a bit of coverage tonight. And it's a theme tune to a classic scrolling beat 'em up by Sega, and it goes by the name of Golden Axe. And it's one that actually fades out, which is nice. So that was it. When did we pick that one? Was that in SID Show 1?
That was in the first one.
SID Show 1, yeah.
Was it?
But,
but
the thing is though, in SID Show 1, we only played like 30 seconds of all the songs apart from our top picks.
Yeah.
So that was one that you complained about having to turn off because you were really enjoying it. So I'm glad you've got to play it and listen to the whole thing. So
I forgot that. Yeah, we only did play little excerpts. I don't know how we could have actually done a SID show not playing the full thing. I forgot that. Yeah, it was after second one. So no, I'm not going to apologise. I did. The thing is, I spoke to Panther before we started, and I said there might be one or two that I've already picked. And then I downloaded the SID, all the tracks, and I was checking. I thought, that's fine, that's not been there, that's not been there, that's been there. And obviously, if I didn't check that one, but yeah, if we only played 30 seconds, then it's definitely worthy of
yeah,
a full thing.
Yeah, I can't take the piss too much because I was actually considering that. Well, not for this one, but maybe for like any possible future ones. I was thinking, shall I choose Miami Vice again because we only heard 30 seconds of it last time, and you know, I'd rather hear the full thing. So yeah, so I'm not going to criticise much. I'll still laugh at you though.
Yeah, well, he sent me a message saying, would that be a problem? And I went, no, as long as you like having a piss ripped out of you.
Yeah.
I would expect nothing else of you two bastards. Anyway, yeah. Are you a fan of that one, Panther?
Absolutely. That's why I put it in the first SID show, man. That's one of my favourite tracks by Joran. And that is the one, was that 1990 that one come out?
Yeah.
1990 that one came out,
yeah. That's the one where he stayed up all night, recorded it, handed it in, then went to college in the morning.
What age was he? 13 or something at that point?
No, he was 18 at that point.
Oh, Christ, he was an old man at that point, yeah. No, fantastic. You a fan of that one, Mr. L?
Oh yeah. It's the intro that really grabs me on that one. You hear that intro and you think there is no way that's a 64. That is one of the best intros of any piece of 64 music I've ever heard. You know, it's that good. I mean, the rest of it is no slouch either, but it's that intro that really does get me with that particular piece.
Yeah, he's taken an arcade tune and just given it his own spin and, you know, improved it tenfold.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the rest of the Commodore 64 conversion. Which actually, it's not terrible. It's just that it suffers a little bit from, you know, only ever having like one enemy on screen at a time doesn't help it, you know.
I don't think I've ever actually played it, or maybe I did when I did an Arcade Perfect, but I can't remember.
It's not awful, but it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, but that saves it. So anyway, yeah, that's it. That's another SID show in the can, as they say. I hope you've all enjoyed watching it. I was saying that to Panther when we had a wee break earlier on. I've really enjoyed it, and I think having that sort of 2-month sabbatical was probably quite a good thing. You know, I think it's given us a bit of a zest for it, and it's good to have you back, Mr. L. I know you've not been keeping too great. It's been great to get the gang back together again, as they say. Eh?
Yeah. Yeah, so, you're still stuck with us.
No, Discord has been going mental. Where's Mr. L? So
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they've all been desperate for me to come back. Yeah. So
yeah, listen, it just remains. I mean, I'm sure if the feedback in this one is good, I'm sure there will be a further show. I think I could probably speak for you two lads to say that, you know, we all enjoy making these. It's great fun, and, you know, from a purely selfish point of view, it's a fantastic opportunity just to kind of kick back, talk to two great guys, and listen to some bloody tunes that you've never heard before, or in my case, you've probably heard 3 or 4 times because I picked the same ones. But anyway,
I've got one question. When are those 2 guys turning up?
Yeah.
Hang on, you just dropped something there. It is. Yeah. Anyway, on that bombshell, listen, thank you very well. Thanks to you two chaps for joining me once again for this. And finally, thanks to everybody for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.